Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bullhead Brute, AJ Cazana, one half of the NWA's top tag team, the Country Gentlemen, and you're watching PWE. Bam.
Sean Lennon here. Right now, we are talking to NWA Pro Wrestler AJ Cazana on PWE. Make sure to check him out. He's one half of NWA United States Tag Team Champions with his brother KC Cazana as the Country Gentlemen, also with their father Joe Cazana. And make sure to come to Highland Park, NWA Chicago at Studio One. Make sure to take out to be there as they face the Soul Touchas, Marshe, Rockett, and Acid Jazz this Friday night. They're taking on Chicago's top tag team there in NWA Chicago. And we appreciate you being on. How you doing, AJ?
Man, I'm doing good. I've just enjoyed my day here. Got a nice workout. Enjoyed the sun. It was about 65 and sunny here in Tennessee, so we're liking that warmer weather.
Okay, that's good. It was fortunate it wasn't that high by where I'm at in Chicago, as you'll find out Friday.
Oh yeah, no, I'm preparing for the cold.
Yeah, and
I got my sweatsuit ready to go.
Definitely. You're talking about professional wrestling at this point and how it's changed your life for the better and growing up in this business with your father, with Joe Cazana Promotions, and and your brother as well. How was it for you?
Like growing up in professional wrestling, I mean, it was fun. It was I come down. I was just talking to somebody about this. I came in, or I guess I was born a little after Dad's heyday. He kind of slowed down once I was born. Once mom got knocked up, and got pregnant and stuff, and he transitioned more into just kind of the local stuff, going here and there between the southeastern states, and it was cool. It didn't really mold me then. It has started to take effect now.
Right.
Because it's my life. Like, this is what I do for a living. This is what I do for fun. This is basically my entire life. This lifting, coaching football and wrestling and stuff. And so it's definitely helped instill a little more discipline in me, because you have to be disciplined on the road.
Right.
With doing your stretching, doing your dieting and exercising and stuff, and really focusing in on getting my body right, getting my head right, and making sure that we're taken care of. I mean, I saw that, man. It's a normal life to live, a normal every day. I bartend occasionally for fun, and we have a good time.
All right, that's great, man. I'm glad that professional wrestling has really been paying off for you.
Oh yeah, and then my dad's been around for about 40-something years in it, and he's as spry and as young as he ever thought he was, and he's not no spring chicken, but he likes to act like one every once in a while. So
yes,
he gets his taste and his feel every once in a while. And then my kid brother just got into it a couple years ago. He's approaching 2 years in the business since he started training, and obviously he's doing very well for himself. A lot of things. So I'll take a lot of credit for that, because he's been stuck with me for literally most of his career. He was 6 months in when he got a wrestling match with the NWA, and he's been with me ever since. So between him being with me and Dad, I think that's it's been a huge thing for him, because we've been able to help him come along and push him in the right direction. Of course, we've got people in the NWA locker room that are looking for us to succeed, because they know as the young guys go, the locker room goes. They're trying to cultivate their own talent. So JCP guys, me and KC, are NWA guys through and through. We didn't come from WWE. We didn't come from TNA. Didn't come from anywhere else. We were found. KC's literally been an NWA guy almost since the beginning. Because he was setting up the ring before he started training. Then he decided to start training. He got a little wet behind the ears, and then he got a shot. And he's been with us ever since. So he is a NWA guy from the beginning, territory, and then proper show, and I think that speaks wonders for the JCP brand itself, Joe Cazana Promotions, the top territory in the NWA. No shade at Chicago or nothing, but we're doing just fine, and JCP's still growing. We've still got me, KC, Silas, AT, and Plunkett come in every once in a while. Kylie Paige is our women's world champion. We got young guys, and by young guys, I mean just guys that need a chance. Guys like Jaden Newman, Tyler Shute, Our freaking tag titles are overseas on in the UK on the Blockbusters, Toby Johns and Jordan Sparks, and we're rocking and rolling, brother, and it's getting better every day. We're growing. We kind of dialed back a little bit to reassess this territory stuff because this is our first full year as a territory, I believe, or maybe
Right.
second year, working on second year. But we kind of changed up the way we want to do business, and we've got a hell of a roster, and we're continuing to add to that roster. We're continuing to find the pieces that fit, and our job is to find talent that deserve to be where KC and I have gotten, deserve to be where Silas have gotten. And I think we've got a good little list of talent that could step into the NWA right now and make it known that we are the top territory and that we're professional wrestlers as they're meant to be. And we're not these sports entertainers. We're barrel chested men, most of us. Even our
Right.
guys are barrel chested, right? So Tyler Hughes probably about 170, 185 pounds right now. But he's shredded out of his mind. His chest he's the guy. Shoot trains harder, baby. You know.
Right.
But dude. JCP's going great. We've got all our episodes on YouTube. We're airing them weekly. We've got some stuff lined up because we just got monetized on YouTube, so we're able to put out some more. We're putting out more content. We're really focusing on the Facebook, Instagrams. We don't do the Twitters. Dad tries to do the Twitter and Threads. We all hate social media, but we understand that's the world we live in today. But yeah, man, it's growing and it's growing right. And we've got Silas Mason in the creative office right now with us. That he's Silas Mason may be one of the most creative individuals I've ever met in my entire life.
Really?
Across all platforms, from art, music, wrestling. He's got a brain that works really funny. I don't understand how it works. I don't ask questions because mine don't work like that. But this man will come up. Hell, he pitched to me today 5 seasons of a TV show that he came up with. And I'm like, how the hell did you what? When? And then he'll remember that until the day he dies. He's pitched professional wrestling companies and ideas. He's pitched angles for the next 10 years. He's pitched this and that. He's got a creative mind that the day that he steps out of a pair of wrestling boots and he decides to step into the office, he should have a job just about anywhere, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Well, he should just have a job just about anywhere wrestling, but he's going to get a job somewhere in creative. He's got that level of creativity that I've not seen anywhere.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. And for people that don't know how the television is different than independent shows for you, how much had you learned from being part of NWA? Okay, the camera, the hard cam is there, you have to make your entrance here. How much did you learn on the fly?
Well, I trained for TV.
Okay.
Dr. Tom Pritchard, JPWA, Glenn Jacobs, Doc trains people for TV. We have a camera set up and we run drills specifically. I remember running drills where he's given us, and it's usually just like blow up drills or whatever, where towards the end he'll be like, all right, we need you to, at the beginning he'll tell you, we need to finish over there facing that camera. And then he'll change it up midway through right before you're about to go into the finish. And he'll be like, oh, we got to get it around this way. Camera move. And so we've been training to be on camera since day one. Now, understanding that and being able to position yourself took some time. I mean, it's 5 years, and I think I'm just now getting to the point to where like I can find the camera at any given moment and understand the staging and everything of if you've got 6 guys in a ring, there's a match between us and the Slime Balls and Carson Drake on Power, where you can see us lined up. Man, that's not just by accident. Like, we're all professionals and we understand that to get everybody on the shot, we can't be lined up like this. You gotta do it that way. But man, it's NWA makes it easy versus any other promotion I've been at. Probably, nowadays everybody's got production or everybody tries to do production, and you'll at least get a hard cam. So as long as you know where the hard cam is, you can work that hard cam. For me, it's more we'll work the hard cam at independent shows, but if there's people in the crowd, I'm trying to entertain them. Trying to entertain them and the people at home. But if they're not reacting in the crowd, then it makes me feel like crap. So with that, I mean, independent shows are a little different because you can kind of be a little more free. You don't have to be so anal about where you're going with the camera. But at NWA, man, we've got hard cam. You've got 2 roaming cameras. We typically do a jib cam, one of the floating ones. And then they usually, here and there, they have an extra 4 camera. So you got 4 or 5 cameras. If you can't find a shot at the NWA of your face on camera, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
So it's they make it really easy to get this ugly mug on TV. So it's significantly easier to work TV with that many cameras versus an independent show that's got 1 hard cam and you're doing stuff all over the place and you're trying to entertain the crowd and trying to do this, but at the same time they want it for their cameras. So it's
sure.
NWA is probably easier because of the amount of cameras.
Yes. That's really intricate. I mean, just like how their setup is. And you feel like you actually are able to duplicate that with JCPW?
Yeah, with JCP we duplicate that pretty well. We've got 1 hard cam and 1 roaming cam right now. Of course, we partner with Accolade Productions as our production guy. He's a local fella here. He does all our post-production. He comes in and films our pre-tapes, vignettes, anything we want. With technology being the way it is now, the phone I'm on's got a better camera than 90% of the cameras out there. So we do use promos. If talent films promos, we'll use promos and plug those into shows. If they've got ideas and they want to, and then he can go in and tweak the the definition to make it look like we want it to look. But JCP is very unique. We don't put a TV show out. We're not a TV show. We put episodes of what we want out, of what we do out, because back when NWA went from YouTube to the CW app, there was a huge backlash. People didn't like it because the CW app wasn't available overseas. And we've got fans in other countries that watch religiously. And, there's, get a VPN. Everybody should have a VPN. The government should know what you're looking at online. But I understand people not wanting to pay for that, people not wanting to get it. So I found a free one. I use it to this day. But it was really for that. We were putting out full shows. So we'd film a show and then we'd put out a 2-hour-long YouTube video for people to watch. And then I told Dad, that happened. I was like, well, let's just put out a weekly episode and we'll break down a 2-hour show into 4 30-minute episodes, plug in a couple vignettes here and there, some pre-tapes, make it look real old school WCW NWA, and just give people what they want, give people an alternative. If they can't watch the real deal right now until we get something figured out, we got over on X now. So that's a little more accessible across the world. But even then, we built up a good little following just because NWA Power was no longer available in other countries.
Right.
But no, we're a crowd first promotion. Crowd first. We've got people that paid money to be there, and they deserve to get interacted with. And being in East Tennessee, man, this is a Memphis style area. And nobody, not going to say it doesn't have its place, but you've got the Northeast style of wrestling sometimes doesn't work down here.
Mm-hmm.
But Memphis typically does. And I understand Memphis style wrestling isn't very big in TV world, but it's got its place. And so we've taken that old school Memphis style and that old school NWA style, and we've kind of sprinkled in a little new age Northeast. And I think we've got a really good culmination, a really good combo of those two things. And that's something that makes us unique. We tell people every time we have a show, hey, understand we do put this out on YouTube. We do put out reels, vignettes, everything, to get content and whatnot. And that is the world we live in. But we're here to entertain the people in the stands. Right. Whether it's or 150 or whether it's 950 like we usually get at Coalfield. We're here to entertain these folks. And I would rather entertain the people in the crowd than the people at home most of the time.
Sure.
And I get it. Sometimes there's millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people watching at home. But if I'm doing my job and entertaining these folks in the crowd while not being I'm trying to think of the nice way to put this. Again, it's I think Aaron Stevens, I can quote him saying, You know, it's Memphis style wrestling with Northeast TV feel.
Okay.
Right, so we got that NWA style wrestling with that WWE, WWF style feel for TV, and I think that's the best that you can do, because you give enough action where people are locked in at home and they're flipping through channels. They see something cool, they're like, okay, cool, I'm watching this, but you're still entertaining the masses that have paid money to be there to see you. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That's
For
the
sure.
long answer.
Oh yeah. Hey, I think you really have a formula to what you're doing as well.
It's something we've worked with Aaron on, and we're continuing to work with Aaron on, and it's something that we taken, because he said if you could learn to wrestle in the Memphis territory, the NWA style of wrestling, that you know, this area style of wrestling, even the Mid Atlantic, if you can learn to wrestle like that and learn to work TV like up north, and in the Northeast, you know, New York, again, that's, you know, McMahon's or whatever, but that's the perfect balance, and that's his opinion, but I follow that opinion because that's what makes sense to me, and it's what's worked for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, this upcoming match with the Soul Touchas, can you talk about how this got started between you and them? You know, last October, NWA Chicago, you had a match with I think Eddie Grayson, Jack Valor,
Yeah.
and these guys came after the match ended. Marshe Rockett, of course, you know, he has a big prominent role of NWA, and at his partner.
Does he? I haven't seen Marshe at NWA in years.
Okay. From what I heard.
I ain't seen him in the locker room in years. So
you haven't? Okay.
No, the last time I saw him was October at Chicago.
Okay.
So I don't know how it started, whether they jumped us or we jumped them. You know, we were defending our titles like good territory boys we are, and we were defending the United States Tag Team titles, being the top team, you know, outside of Knox and Murdoch, whatever, world champions, being their top tag team. You know, we got to represent, and I think we represented in Chicago well. And I don't know if Marshe and his partner took too kindly to that. You know, I know people up north don't really care for my people down here in the South, and the way we handle business and the way we do things. And I can't remember who jumped who first. But if I'm not mistaken, it was them. They came out, I guess, to make a save for the kids or something, or try to fight. I don't know. And then we retaliated, because guess what? You want some, we'll give you some. But it's going to be on our time, because, again, we are the current reigning, defending NWA United States Tag Team Champions.
Definitely. Very excited for this matchup.
I'm glad you are. I'm ready to slap Marshe sideways.
Yeah. So talk about when you first met Marshe, and what was your impression of him?
Most athletic big man I've ever seen in my entire life. Maybe that's not true, because I did play Division I football, and I know some guys that played in the NFL, and I've seen some freak athletes. Marshe's unreal athletic. When I first met him, he was with Austin Idol. And, you know, we didn't care too much for Austin Idol's little clique. Austin broke my dad's nose, saw a win too. You know, Austin brought my cousin Anthony back in the fold in Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, one of those two.
Right.
And, you know, Austin's kind of been a thorn in our side. But, you know, once Marshe left, we were cool. And once he left Austin Idol's little clique, we were cool. Really hard guy not to like. Really, I mean, you look at him, you want to smile. He's got a great sense of humor. He's pretty intelligent. He's a fun guy to be around. He just, you know, I think he got mixed up a little bit with Idol, and then he got out of that. Since then, like I said, man, I ain't seen him around until we come up to NWA Chicago, and I don't think he likes the fact that me and my brother are where we're at, and he's stuck in Chicago.
Right.
You know, and I get it. Jealousy's not pretty, even on a beautiful man like that. So I liked Marshe. I thought we were friends. And then apparently I was wrong. And I ain't wrong about much, but I was wrong that time.
Yes. Any thoughts on Acid Jazz?
I don't know him very well. You know, I met him up there. I met him once or twice, but I got no bad feelings.
Right.
I just feel bad that he's going to have to get his head smacked. And you know that floor at Studio One's concrete, and we have a
It
tendency of
is.
dropping people on their heads, and um, I feel bad. You know, I don't want to hurt the guy, but he's tied his wagon to the racehorse that is Marshe Rockett, and if that's supposed to be what NWA Chicago represents, then you know we're willing to go put it to them and give them a chance to prove that they deserve to be on NWA Power and in the Crockett Cup and all that stuff. So look, I'm just here. I'm a businessman. I'm a territory guy. I'm an NWA guy. I'm
For
an
sure.
office man. I do what Billy asked me to do. I go where Billy asked me to go. I'm his guy. He won't tell you that because I'm a bad guy, and apparently I do bad things, is what people tell me. I ain't never done a bad thing in my life. I'm a country gentleman, by God. But you know, apparently he. Yeah, I like to imagine that we're his guys. You know,
Right.
we're the measuring stick. You know the slime balls. You know the slime
Yes.
balls.
Yes. I saw
Slime
you.
balls got a job because of us.
Right.
We're the measuring stick. So why not put Marshe in his part? Is it Jazz?
Jazz, as in
Yeah.
jazz.
Why not put those two in the ring with us and see if those two kids can hang? You know, I know they're young in this business. That's a joke. That's not really a funny joke. So maybe they can make it in wrestling one day, you know. But no, they're a formidable tag team, man, no doubt. And I know they're probably the biggest tag team in the Chicago area as far as the fans. Man, for whatever reason, when we came out to fight them, they booed us. The fans did, and
Right.
I don't know why. Apparently, they really like those guys. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be real easy. I think hell, it might even be a little fun.
Okay.
I do know
Well,
Corgan's there.
right.
So how much fun we can have, I got to work. You know what I mean? Like I got to
Yeah.
prove to my boss that we're obviously the number one contenders for the World Tag Team titles, whether anybody at NWA Power, NWA offices want to admit it or not. And I've got to prove that we're who we are and we can do what we say we can do. And if I got to break a leg, break a couple thumbs, then you know we'll do it.
Yes.
I don't want to, but I got world gold on my playlist later. You know, I'm trying to get that thing wrapped around my waist. I'm trying to take this United States Tag Team title all over the country, and people want to doubt us and tell us, you know, oh well, you guys are just there because of who your daddy is. It's like, son, I'll smack these people upside the head and make them wish they never met me.
For sure. I mean, you guys listed an open challenge for April.
For Vegas, yeah, we're going to be in
Vegas.
Mania Week. We're out in Vegas Mania Week. We're free to go the whole week. Neither one of us, you know, this is our full-time job, so we're open. We're out at Colorado Wrestling Connection. We got one match right now scheduled for it. I'm working on a few more. May be able to dip over, hopefully, to the newest territory, NWA New Mexico. I think they got a show April 19th. He hadn't confirmed that with me yet, but that's that week. And I'm like, hey, man. It's a real nice, easy way for us to get home. If we fly ourselves out to Vegas, the NWA will get us from Vegas to New Mexico to home.
Right.
But you know, we're trying to get out there. Dude, I'd fight 10 times a day out in Vegas if they'd let me. I'll wrestle anybody. I wanted to go out there. I wanted to put these titles on the line because I know every independent wrestler in the world who means something is going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes.
For
Yes.
Mania. And I want to dude, I just want to prove we're the best tag team in the United States, not just the Southeast, not the NWA. We want to wrestle everybody. I want the Effies of the world. I want the Cruels of the world. I don't know who you got, the Midnight Heat. If somebody could get me the Midnight Heat from out west in Vegas,
Yes.
we'd tear the freaking house down.
Oh yeah.
If somebody wants to book the freaking Hardys to fight us, we'll fight them. What a match that would be. Right? If you want to book anybody from TNA, you know, Heath and Rhino have been running their mouths asking for it. I'll give it to them. Like we're offering star-studded matches, and they're not going to be Dave Meltzer 7-star ratings because they're going to be ass kickings. They're going to be fights. They're going to be down home Donniebrooks by the book, the way we like to do it. And hell, if Tony Khan wants to send a couple of his lackeys out there, we'll take care of them too.
Okay.
I only said that because I see Mock, the All Out poster in the background.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was supposed to replace that with my banner.
I'll fight John Moxley one-on-one. I don't care.
Yeah, there we go.
I've watched him get tapped out by middle-aged plumbers and in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know the easiest defense for Jiu-Jitsu? You just stand up. It's that simple.
Right. Yeah, it'll be an interesting week, of course, for you guys to be in Las Vegas, and WrestleMania is always huge. So,
Oh yeah,
really
I'm excited. I was talking to somebody earlier about it. I don't. If we've got one booking, we'll go out there for a couple of days. We'll enjoy the scenery, see some stuff, drink some drinks,
right.
gamble a little bit, play some baccarat, a little blackjack. Try to double next month's rent.
Right. I'd love to see you guys fight FTR.
That's one of my dream matches.
Yeah, I figured that would be.
But Tony Khan's got them on lockdown, and he's scared to let them go anywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's just plain and simple how it is. The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. I'd love to fight them anytime, anywhere. Those two matches. Heath and Rhino are on that short list. Man, like we deserve an opportunity to prove ourselves, and I think people are afraid to give us that opportunity because they know what we'll do.
Yeah.
They don't want us to outshine their guys, and I get it. I understand.
Sure.
Who wants to see two country bumpkins from East Tennessee outshine these top class athletes? Nobody. So no, man, I'm dude. FTR is if freaking Dax would ever answer me back, he never answers me. He ducks me. Matt Taven will get back with me every once in a while, but apparently he ain't got nothing free. No, we're working on the Rhino match and Heath, and we're trying to get some good stuff out there for people. So
yeah,
dogs are going off.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens with that. And talk about NWA 312 when you were part of this landmark event. Billy Corgan is from Highland Park, and that was after that unfortunate massacre that took place.
Yeah.
How important was that for you to show up and be a part of that show?
It was really freaking cool, man. Honestly, that was that's been a while. We did the show for Connor.
Mm-hmm.
A little small show, a little fundraiser there the night before, and that was fun. I enjoyed that. And then we turned around and did 312, and it was cool. Trying to remember what we had.
I think you took on the Savages.
Well,
I believe so.
We had Billy Tipton and
oh, you're right.
And Garrison Creed, I think.
Okay.
And then Jack Dane, God rest his soul, and Blake Troop were tagging at the time, and they came out and jumped us. And then the Fixtures came out, and then Knox and Murdoch came out, and it was just a big Donnybrook. And I think that's the show Mike Knox jumped off the rope onto all of us outside and broke a light.
Oh, wow.
No, man, it was real cool. Man, anytime you get to step foot in any NWA wrestling ring is a blessing. Is a very it's a real experience, and it's a surreal experience because I'm getting to do what I love, and I'm getting to do it at the highest level, and I'm getting to do it for a company that my dad wrestled for, that my great grandfather owned the Southeastern Territory in for 20 years, and that my great grandfather wrestled for. So it's been really freaking cool, man.
For sure. And, it's just a very intimate atmosphere. There's no guardrails.
No, it's right there on top of you, man. They don't mess around either. Those Chicago folks are a little wild.
Yeah.
They'll let you know, and that's good. I like that. So, it's I like the intimate atmospheres. I'd rather be in a smaller venue, packed tight like that, versus a giant. Like Dothan's great, but Dothan's so big where we go to the Civic Center versus, and we can fit significantly more people in there. But those smaller venues, man, we put 1,000 people at Coalfield High School, and it was packed.
Right.
Both bleachers were full. We had 200 floor seats or more out. No guardrails because we don't do that. Our people know. Mm-hmm. We know. They know. They're not stupid. They know better than to step in the ring with us. Now we got security, and we've had a few problems, but there's police. We have police at shows like that. We ain't just slow duck fellers. But yeah, man, it's I love intimate atmospheres like that. I'm trying to think ours that we do at JCP right now. It's a small elementary school gym. It's where I went to elementary school. It's where my brother went to elementary school. Our cousin's the principal there. We give back to the kids there. We give back to the Boys and Girls Club there. We usually give them free tickets. And it's just something for the community to go out and forget their problems for a Friday night every couple months. And being in that smaller venue, if we put 300 people in there, man, it's standing room only.
Right.
I think we could get 400 to 500, but we get close to the fire marshal getting called.
Sure.
Because it would literally be shoulder to shoulder. There'd be nowhere to stand. There'd be nowhere to sit. There'd be nowhere to spit if you had to. And but I love that, man. And I think we're drawing anywhere between 150, 200 people. And in that venue, it feels like 5,000.
Wow.
Because especially those fans, they're nuts, they're loud, they're crazy, they like to have fun, they like to cheer, they like to boo, and they just like good old professional wrestling. And
Sure.
they'll let you know if they like you, and they'll let you know if they hate you. And they're engaged from start to finish, and it's I think that intimate setting helps create that. You know,
Right.
they know we're on a stage, right? We're in the professional wrestling ring, which is about 3 or 4 feet off the ground. It's a small stage. And that gives you that elevation, and they know, okay, well, this is a big deal. We're close to the action. It could spill over into our laps. I've untied shoes at these shows. When I get thrown out of the ring, you know, you reach out, you accidentally grab somebody's shoe loop, and you just pull it, and it unties a shoe. So I love intimate places, man. It's fun, a lot of fun.
Definitely. Yeah, me too as well. And Highland Park is one of those great venues that we see now and time again. Now, when you talk about the loudest reaction you've had, either to your entrances or your move, what would it be?
Well, our entrance in Philadelphia was pretty unwelcoming. Um, the entrance in Dothan also pretty unwelcoming. Uh, Man, we won the belts in Philly. Crowd didn't like that too much. Booed the hell out of us, and I think it's more reactions for the matches than it is moves, man. You know, it's moments over moves for us, right? And we're not fancy. We don't do a lot of fancy moves. We don't do the high spots. We got one or two in our sleeves, but don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we'll wrestle for the next 25, 30 years.
Right.
And we'll get the same reactions then that we do now. And you know, it is what it is. There's a match that'll be coming up on NWA Power that is the loudest reaction I've ever gotten in my entire life, probably.
Oh, really?
It's been pretty close. Anything that I can, at least in modern history, like recent history, it was a tag team match, and the reactions during were for the moves, and those were big pops. And then I just remember laying on the ground at the end of the match, and I'm not going to give you any more feels. I remember sitting there, thinking to myself, we just proved we're main event talent.
Awesome.
That reaction is the biggest reaction anybody in the NWA has gotten in the past year.
Wow.
It was out of this world, and of course I'll probably get heat in the locker room for that. Whatever, who knows? No, man, it was. There's been big reactions, but that was our biggest reaction by far. It was just
okay.
The next time we're on Power. So
okay.
the downside is, man, like when you can hear the crowd when you're out there and you can feel it, but in the moment you kind of I get lost. I get lost in the moment of I can feel the energy and I can tell where we're going. And I can tell where they're about to go, and it's but you still kind of like it's deafening almost, like you can't hear it.
Yeah.
You're so locked into everything around you, and then wrestling, it's a fine line to walk, but no, it's wild. We get some pretty big reactions, yeah.
For sure. And you've wrestled internationally as well, right?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, talk about some big interactions. Or reactions. Pro Wrestling Holland over in Amsterdam. They don't care too much for Americans over there. I'll just tell you that much. It's especially the big Southern ones. who drank a lot of beer and liked to talk a lot of smack. Yeah, no, that was Pro Wrestling Holland gives me that's probably my favorite place to wrestle outside of the NWA.
Really?
Oh yeah, man, it was nuts. A couple places over the UK that I wrestled. I was at Contract Wrestling. Can't remember if I think it was Contract off the top of my head. They're all running together right now because it's been a few months. Intimate venues, usually like sound stages, like concert venues,
Okay.
small concert venues. But they pack those places out, man, and they've got the seating set up just right, and you've got the production, the lights, this and that. There's alcohol usually involved, and they're the international fans are wild,
Right.
wild. But yeah, man, going international was a huge experience. I learned a lot, and especially, but no, Pro Wrestling Holland. That's what I've told the guy. I've told Pengwa, like the promoter, I was like, this is my home away from home, man. Like this is the promotion that if somebody were to call, if you were to call me and say, hey, come over, I'd be here tomorrow.
Nice.
Financially permitted, and the passports and everything come,
Right.
So, yeah, the Boom Chicago show that we just did, brother, it was me and Los Dinos Hermanos, I believe, out of Mexico, wrestling against a few guys from the Deutschland over there, from the Netherlands. Lorenzo Lima, Brandon Romero, and LF. I think LFG is his name. LFG, he's an American, but the other two are Dutch, and they're just big fans of those three. And dude, I cut a pre-match promo, and I cut a mid-match promo, and I don't know if I've ever gotten more heat.
Oh wow.
Or more interactions. I know I've gotten more heat, but more interaction and reaction out of what I was saying, and it's. Brother, it's wild over there. It's a whole different freaking ball game.
For sure. You feel like NWA has the opportunity, they should branch out more and travel internationally and put on events international. I know they've had like a couple different spots with the Vampire Tour or whatever Billy Corgan and Smashing Pumpkins was doing, but
I think that was a huge success. I know Silas was on that tour. The Southern Sticks were on that tour. That's when they started. Me and KC weren't together. Me and Anthony, my old partner, we didn't get to go on those tours. But the 2 weeks in Australia, I think, went really well. And I think it's something Billy would do again. The downside is that he was giving free wrestling to those fans at his concerts.
right.
And that's fine. That's great. That builds our brand because they got great reactions and we've got a lot of fans in Australia now because of it.
Right.
But if we were to go do a 2-week tour over there and sell tickets to venues, I think we do just fine.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially like if they did that same kind of tour with the idea of doing it for professional wrestling and not just like as a tag along to Billy's. I think that was a test for Billy to see how his fans reacted to wrestling.
Right.
And it worked, obviously, because we did a U.S. tour. We did 4 dates in the South over here, Dothan, or we went Huntsville, Huntsville, West Palm, Tampa, and then Charlotte, I believe. And it went over great then, too. So I know there's a need for and a want for NWA overseas. We partnered with AAA, I think, in Mexico. I think we've done some stuff with CMLL. And we just, like I said, we just branched out to Texas and New Mexico. So we're close. We're right there at the border. I think there's a want for NWA to go international again. I know people love the NWA brand and they love the NWA roster and they love the talent. They love what we present, what we can do, especially in the UK. Europe's a little more obscure. They don't really know very as much but we're going to go. We got guys that go over all the time. I just went to Italy. I was in Italy and the Netherlands and then the UK. And I think I did a good job of being a liaison for the National Wrestling Alliance. And it was they were very receptive. And I think we've grown over there in those countries just because talent is going there. So do I see an international tour coming? Probably not in the foreseeable future, in the near future, but it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities for Billy Corgan to up and say, hey, we're taking 20 dudes and girls and going to going to Brazil and doing a 2-week tour, or going to Puerto Rico, maybe not Puerto Rico, maybe Puerto Rico, who knows, Mexico, and doing 3-day stints in these places, doing a meet and greet one day, doing a small house show or whatever, and then doing a big show in a stadium. So Billy's the mastermind of figuring that stuff out. Now that's why I defer to him.
Yeah.
That's not my job. That's his job, and he does a good one at it.
And congrats, because I think NWA has had multiple sellouts as of late for their live events.
Dude. It's Dothan. I know we could pack a lot more in there, but I mean that's the biggest crowds we're pulling. I know back to the territories last year, we had 1,000. We probably could have gotten another few hundred in there, but I think we capped it at that.
Right.
We filled up. We only did one side. We did the old school one side bleachers, but they were huge, and it was packed. 4 seats were all sold. I know Tampa. We've packed Tampa for Sawin too when it had to move from Sarasota because of Hurricane Melvin or Michael or something, right? The Irvin, Marvin, one of those bad hurricanes. When that hurricane passed through there, we moved it to the Tampa studio, and it was freaking packed out. And I think they saw that we could do that there, and we could put a couple hundred, 200 or 300 in there, and especially over a couple days, do a couple, and we're packing those out. We go back to Dothan, pack those out. Hell, Studio One sells out. Like the NWA, we're doing, everything we're doing is on the right track, and trajectory is going upwards. So it's only a matter of time. Forney, Texas, we go to the OC out there, we sell that out. It's a matter of continuing to keep that ball rolling and succeed. And I think Brian Idle does a pretty good job of promoting what we need to promote, doing what he needs to do, and especially on those tours and stuff. I know the Northeast tour just happened, and I think every night was a sellout up there, pretty dang close.
For sure.
So we're very fortunate, very blessed.
Yes. And then you have more attention because we saw this today announced that WWE Natalia is coming.
Yeah, man. How cool is that?
Cup. Yeah, that's
how cool is that?
Yeah.
Hell, yeah. We were told that, and I was like, well, that's really good for us. I think it's a really good experience for Natalia. I think she talked about it on Busted Open. I shared it earlier, listened to it, and she was really excited about that. Especially just to come in because of the history of the NWA.
Yeah.
And I want to say Stu Hart had a territory maybe at one point up in Canada, Calgary, or at least that they would send people up there occasionally.
Right.
So they got history in the NWA as well, and having her in is not only it's massive for us, but I think I was telling somebody again this earlier. Like I think it's huge for professional wrestling. Yeah. WWE being willing to when I saw them partner with TNA and the TKO stuff. Hell, when I saw Mickie James go in as the TNA Women's Champion to a Royal Rumble before any official partnership, and then the official partnership was announced, and we're seeing crossovers, and then when we found this out today, it was like that opens up the door for us to wrestle some of their guys and girls, for their guys and girls to come to us.
Right.
But it's I think it shows Triple H's vision, not only for the WWE, but for professional wrestling as a whole.
Yeah.
Like I understand that, he runs a multi-billion-dollar company, and he understands that, but I think he knows, or I think he believes the same way I believe that your shows like the shows like TNA, the shows like NWA, like there's a lot of talent being cultivated here. And of course, the WWE is the WWE. They are the freaking head on the Hydra, that runs the thing. Right. They're the top of the professional wrestling world, and just being able to be mentioned in the same breath now as them, right? Because like everybody usually pretends that the WWE doesn't exist. Like for a while, we were kind of like, okay, we don't mention them on TV. We didn't mention ECW when we were in Philly. We don't mention, like, we don't mention the AEW. We don't mention any of those guys usually on TV or any of our promotions or
Right.
whatever. So like being able to be mentioned in the same breath as the WWE is very invigorating for me, because that means that something we're doing at the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, is doing something right.
Right.
And we're on the precipice, I think is the right word, of just exponential growth for our company just on this one announcement. And there's no telling what other announcements are going to be made, or what else they have planned, because Billy is a very, not secretive is not the right word, but he holds his cards close to his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And we all kind of do that, right? We don't tell people things until we know for sure that they're happening, or until we got them lined up, ready to go. There's no telling what Billy's got stacked up right now for the
Right.
next 5 or 6 shows. We don't really, we get our schedule and whatnot a few months in advance, and they give us our information, and we get everything squared away, and it's usually real easy. But I bet he's got shows booked in the back of his head for the next 5 years.
Right.
And there's no telling, especially with this part. Like it was an unprecedented. Like, I didn't think it would happen. I didn't even know. I didn't know what the freaking deal was. What they were giving us. What they were going to tell us. What we were about to find out. I saw Joe Galli's going on Busted Open. We all checked our emails. We checked our voicemails, text messages to see what was going on. We're all asking each other, "Hey, what do you think's happening?" But man, like, yeah, it's huge for professional wrestling as a whole, because that shows that the top guys
Yes.
in the world, like the top promotion in the world, recognizes what we're doing.
For sure.
Obviously, that means we're doing something right.
Yes.
And he wants to partner with us in some form or fashion.
Right. Man, well, I appreciate you. Everything you're telling me. I wanted to ask about what athletic background did you have prior to pro wrestling?
Well, I played college football for a year, but I played about 14 or 15 years of football before that. A little amateur wrestling. I didn't wrestle in high school or nothing, but I coached after. So I left college in 2011 with a little injury, and I was like, maybe I hang the cleats up and just go live my life a little bit and see what happens. A few years go by, and I'm like, I miss football a lot. I can't go back and play, but maybe I can go coach. And I got into coaching and stuff. Got roped into coaching wrestling basically I was about 315 at the time. And I was getting in shape and working out, and my old defensive line coach asked me, Chris Hawkins, he asked me, he said, "Hey," he said, "would you ever consider coaching wrestling?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not? Sounds like fun. You're going to pay me more? Cool." And basically I was a throwing dummy for our heavyweights. And I was just a big body to go in there and wrestle with our heavy. So I had to learn as a 25, 24-year-old man how to shoot wrestle, amateur mat wrestle and stuff. And so I learned a lot of that. I did that for about 7 years, coached football, and then finally decided, maybe we give this professional wrestling thing a try after the bug bit me. And I had my family is super supportive. My Aunt Edna actually offered and paid for my training. She told me, she said, "I'll never ask you to repay it. The only thing I ask is that when you wrestle for a world's title, or you main event WrestleMania, or you're wrestling at WrestleMania, think of me and get me a ticket." And I'm like, "Edna, you're the first freaking one.
Right.
You're front and center. You and Mama." And so I owe her the world. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for my cousin or son, I wouldn't be here. Of course, if it wasn't for my dad and my mom supporting me in the stupid stuff I decided to do, we wouldn't be here. So it's a lot of dominoes and a lot of things had to fall in the right places to get to where we're at today. But man, I had an athletic background, and then being around, I've been around professional wrestling my entire life, so it was just always back in the back of my mind, but I never really cared for it, and I never really wanted to do it until it bit me that I was like, I got involved in my dad's retirement show, and the first one. And I got those goosebumps. Like, I remember the feeling of going. I literally just gave the guy a hip toss, but I remember going and the feeling and the goosebumps, the adrenaline, heart rate's up, adrenaline's up, my hair is standing up on my arms and my chest, and I'm like, this is the closest thing I have and I've ever felt to running through the Power T at the University of Tennessee. And I did that in front of 100,000 people. And the reactions we get from fans is the closest thing I've ever gotten to that. And that's a high that is unmatched by anything else I've ever done in my entire life.
For sure.
So it's all just kind of like culminated together. It's the perfect storm of nonsense and background and whatnot. So yeah, it was just athletics, man. Just athletics and coaching and being a delinquent and not being good at school.
Definitely. And I want to ask, if someone wants to become a pro wrestler, what advice you have for them?
Get trained.
Okay.
Get trained. Prepare for the long, hard road, because nothing about this is easy. I trained at Jacobs Pritchard Wrestling Academy with Tom Pritchard and Glenn Jacobs. I owe my career probably to Dr. Tom. If it wasn't for training with him, I wouldn't be where I am this fast. I think I'm a good example of it. I think Kylie Paige is a good example of it. Kenzie Paige is a good example of it. KC is a good example of it, my brother. We've got Tyler Franks now, Hunter Drake. All of us are with the NWA. All of us trained at JPWA. I'm trying to think who else was with us at NWA that was JPWA trained. Silas was too, but Silas had a little career before going to JPWA and training with Dog. But Dr. Tom's the one that kind of got his head screwed on straight. So you got to find you a good trainer, somebody that's credible. And of course, JPWA is the way they train. We did 12 weeks, 4 days in the ring, one promo class a day or a week. And we were in the ring 4 hours a night.
Okay, wow.
6 to 10 in a sweat box. Like it was nut cutting time, brother. It was one of those things that, like, if you want this, we're in the right place, because you have to bust your ass to do this. And it sucks. It's not easy. It hurts. Everything hurts. Hitting the ropes hurt. Bumping hurts. Riding in a car hurts. But like, I think Dr. Tom's way of training, and now Kenzie Paige and my brother KC have kind of adapted that and adopted it up at School of Morton. I've never been one to understand schools that'll train you for a year or two and tell you you're not ready to wrestle. If you're not ready to granted, none of us are ready to wrestle when we come out of 12 weeks of training.
Right.
But we do the basics, the foundations and fundamentals of professional wrestling. Stuff that never goes out of style, stuff that keeps you safe and can help you wrestle anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I came out 12 weeks of training at least with the basic knowledge to wrestle a match and not hurt somebody or myself. And that's the biggest thing. And finding a good school with a program like that is huge. Again, I would send everybody to JPWA. It's right outside of Knoxville. It's affordable. He hasn't gone up on prices that much in 5 or 6 years. With the price of inflation on everything else, it's relatively the same. Mm. They've got living opportunities around. And again, Tom Pritchard is the greatest professional wrestling trainer in the world, bar none. Go look at who he's trained and tell me I'm wrong.
Right.
So he is, that's it. Get trained. Once you're trained, prepare to embrace the suck, because this is a long, lonely road, and you'll find people that'll be rooting for you in the beginning. And as soon as you catch up or pass them, they will stab you in the back or try to on their way to stepping back over you. And I've experienced it. Everybody's experienced it at some point. Again, good coach, good school. Prepare for this to suck for the first couple of years. We were driving, me and my first tag team partner were driving 8 hours round trip for $20 a piece. We were driving 10 hours round trip for $40 a piece. Sometimes we were driving farther. So it's like, it's the hustle. I'd hop in a car and go somewhere. I'd call into work, hop in a car and go somewhere for free, unbooked, just to meet people.
Right.
Did that for the NWA, and guess where we're at now?
Mm-hmm.
We're having this conversation.
Right.
So it's a culmination of things. School and your trainer, a trainer that you can call at any time. If I called Dr. Tom right now, he wouldn't answer because it's too late and he's probably in bed. But if I shoot him a text, he'll text me tomorrow. And
right.
So get somebody that supports you and that believes in you. Give them a reason to believe in you. Because if you go in and you're a jabroni, they're not. I've seen Dr. Tom cut people off, and that deserve to be cut off and be like, all right,
Right.
I'm not talking. Like, yeah. So school, coach, embrace the freaking suck. And if you're lucky enough to find you 3 or 4 good friends in this business that are willing to help elevate you, as long as you return the favor and they're there, like, that's good. I've got a couple of those. Silas Mason's one of them. You know, Silas,
Yeah.
we talked about it. He allegedly broke his femur a few years ago, and there was no idea if he would ever step foot in a wrestling ring again. I refuse to let that happen because Silas Mason and Devin Dixon of the Mason-Dixon line were my favorite tag team prior to being in professional wrestling.
Right.
And to watch this tag team that I love dearly go from what they were, how COVID kind of screwed them out, and to where they're at now, or where they were when Silas broke his femur. Like, it was, I didn't feel bad. I don't want to say bad, but like helping each other elevate along the way, getting him back in the ring, him getting back in shape on his own, us getting to the NWA, getting him there. Now he's in world title contention, and if he's not, it's stupid. But you know, it's hard to argue against that guy. And but yeah, you find you 3 or 4 good friends, and you just roll with it. And you help each other along the way. You keep each other accountable in the gym and on the road. Make sure you're not doing stupid stuff to go to jail. And you know, like, we rag on each other. Me and my brother rag on each other, but I'm my brother's biggest fan, and I've told him that, and I believe that he's got the world in front of him. Same thing with Silas. Same thing with anybody else that's in our little clique. But like, we'll rag on each other, but I'll be the first one there to congratulate them when they win the world title.
Yes, for sure.
And they'll I know that they'll pay that back and at least elevate me to where I can get, as long as I'm willing to elevate them right back. So it's a lot of give and take, and that's the big thing. That's probably the top 4 things you need in wrestling, and a decent car so you can travel.
Yeah,
that should be a given.
for sure.
Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, kids.
But AJ, I appreciate you again being on the PWE Report. Everybody must check it out. It's this Friday, NWA Chicago. If you're in the Chicago area, this is your chance to check out the Country Gentlemen. They're coming to Highland Park at Studio One. They face the Soul Touchers. Marshe Rockett. Yes, Marshe Rockett has the Jazz this Friday. NWA United States Tag Team Championships. And we appreciate you, AJ, being on PWE. Glad to finally have you on. And before I let you go,